Hello, my darlings. It's ALB in Whisperland. As you saw in the title, this is a video in which I will be speaking to you gently. And for the visual aspect, I will be playing with, straightening, and styling my friend's hair. I'm so glad to be doing another video like this. I've done 2 others, and it is by far my most requested type of video. As well, this one is quite long as I could manage it to be. So I hope that's helpful to you. My other videos in this style are about 15 minutes in length, which is surprisingly a long amount of time to be talking. But I wanted to do something much longer. Most of the time, people watch ASMR videos as an aid to help them sleep, and sleeping takes time. It can take a while for us to unwind and let go and melt into sleep. So, feel free to watch or to just close your eyes and listen to my voice. And if you're feeling tired, give in to that feeling and let yourself rest because you deserve it. I will always be here for you to come back to, so there's no need to worry about missing it. Part of the reason that we like watching videos where someone is either playing with hair or braiding is because of the flow. Flow is the mental state of operation in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. Maybe you get this feeling when you're crocheting or knitting or even playing video games. I get it sometimes when I'm painting, but not all the time. I have to be very into it to feel flow. Maybe you're thinking of something right now that gives you that flow feeling. That feeling of total immersion in what you're doing that causes joy and positive energy due to your deep focus. Here are the 6 components of flow. Intense and focused concentration on the present moment, merging of action and awareness, a loss of reflective self-consciousness, a sense of personal control or agency over the situation or activity, a distortion of temporal experience. So, for example, you might not realize how much time has passed while you're working. And lastly, that the experience of this activity is intrinsically rewarding, so usually you have clear and immediate feedback. Flow is really interesting to me too, because I'm not sure if you've ever watched someone be in flow, but it's weirdly magical to watch. I'm thinking specifically of someone doing needlework or crochet, because often their movements are quick and precise, but they aren't jarring at all. They can be fast, but still relaxing to watch, because they know exactly what they're doing, and their movements are like clockwork. Oftentimes, they can even do other tasks at the same time, like watch a movie or television show. To me, that's pretty amazing. multitasking at its best. So I love watching videos of skilled people doing that thing that puts them in the flow, even if it's something I'm not usually interested in. And that's usually how I come across new interests, thanks to YouTube. That's sort of how I came into the ASMR community. You know how it goes. You go from one suggested video to another. It's very easy to spend a lot of time on YouTube. Here is a quote to delight you. Anne Morrow Lindbergh, who wrote A Gift from the Sea, said this: "Is there anything as horrible as starting on a trip? Once you're off, that's all right, but the last moments are earthquake and convulsion, and the feeling that you are a snail being pulled off your rock." Have you ever felt like this? I feel like that a lot when I'm trying something new. It's one thing to get everything ready and set up, all of the fiddly bits involved, but then it comes down to actually taking that leap, and suddenly it's quite terrifying, and you find yourself wanting to bail. But pushing through and making yourself try that new thing is very rewarding. It's usually never as hard or awful as your worrying thoughts led you to believe. But trying something new requires a courage that isn't always easy to muster. If you want to try something new, but are worried about following through, ask a friend to try it with you. Once you're accountable to someone, you'll find it's easier to hold your end of the bargain. You'll be less inclined to find excuses not to go. And it's a nice way to connect with that friend and spend time together. Most of the time, other people want to try new things too, but are just as nervous as you. Inviting someone creates opportunities for the both of you to find new talents or hobbies. There's also been a lot of studies that show when we do an activity with a friend, for example, a dance class or going for a run, we push ourselves further than we would have if we were on our own. That's something that really helps me get motivated for sure. But what are other ways to stay motivated when bringing a friend isn't an option? One thing that I've found helpful is to track my progress. On my calendar, I write down when I've accomplished specific tasks, ones that I maybe didn't want to do. For example, up until about 6 months ago, I used to go to yoga classes 3 times a week. But since moving far away, I haven't found a new studio that I like, and I can't do yoga at home comfortably due to the carpeted floors. But I've found that I don't mind running too much, so I've made that my new go-to exercise. Every day that I run gets me a check mark on my calendar. It's not a big deal really, but it sure boosts my confidence to look at my month and see all of those little red check marks. It makes it more tangible somehow to track your successes, especially when the task you're doing isn't one that provides immediate feedback or validation. It's also helpful to take notice of what your comfort zone is and being willing to step outside of that. So take a second right now and think about that. What's your comfort zone? It's not always a place, but it can be. Maybe you eat at the same restaurant all the time. Maybe you haven't explored the shops and events in your neighborhood. Maybe your comfort zone has more to do with how you dress or adorn yourself. Maybe you'd like to try out a new style, but you're worried about how it'll suit you or what others will think. But great things can happen when we step outside of that and try something new. Let's make friends with our discomfort. Maybe discomfort comes when we're making a change in our lives for the better. I've been thinking a lot lately about whether happiness is a choice. You always hear people say that. You just need to think positive and choose to be happy. I wonder about that a lot, probably too much. And I'm not sure that I know even now. But I think we can choose to deal with what happens to us however we like. And there are a lot of different ways to handle situations. Do we see stress as a challenge to meet head on? Or as an iceberg that we'll crash into? I definitely relate to both of those at different times with different stressors. I think we all have specific things that cause us stress, and other things we know are capable of handling. So, I'm not sure if happiness is really a choice, but we can try our best to find good things in what happens to us. We can try to see our problems as opportunities. Opportunities for self-growth. You can imagine it's like we're in a video game. And when we do difficult things, we get experience points. And when we do something really hard, something we really didn't want to do, that's sort of a boss fight. And when you do a boss fight, that usually indicates you're about to move on to the next level. And that's one way of looking at things anyway. For a lot of you, the weather is getting colder and colder out. So many people dear to me have a rough patch this time of year. And if that's you as well, please know that I'm thinking about you. It can be stressful and depressing and hard. Maybe you're far away from your loved ones and you can't travel to see them, although you'd like to. Maybe you have to spend a lot of time with your family who you aren't close with and aren't very kind to you. And for many of you, just the lack of sunlight and warmth causes seasonal depression. I'm going to tell you about a nice day I had a few months ago. And when I tell you, you can imagine that you were there with me, and it will be a nice day that we spend together. On this day, I went to the Point Pleasant Beach in New Jersey, which is also known as the Jersey Shore. I had expectations because I'd seen the Jersey Shore TV show, and I guess I had a certain image in my mind of what it would be like. But it really wasn't like that at all. It was late summer. The beginnings of fall were just starting to creep in. So even though it was very hot and very sunny, there was a cool breeze. Still warm enough to wear a bathing suit as far as I was concerned. But I have to say, not all of the locals had the same idea. Most everyone else was wearing shorts and a hoodie. Probably my Canadian acclimatization coming through. Our heat is never like theirs. So for me, it was still a very hot day. It was a really exciting day too, because I'd never had a beach day on an actual beach. All of the times I'd gone to the beach before were all just lakes, or we went to the beach on days that were too cold to be considered a beach day, you know? So this was a big deal for me to have a beach day on the actual ocean. The sand was so clean looking. So as soon as we reached it, I took my sandals off and sunk my feet into it. It was light beige in color and so warm. It was really soothing, and I liked wiggling my toes in it. The sky was like that perfect Simpsons sky, baby blue with just a few clouds here and there. And I couldn't believe it. There were actual palm trees on that beach. It was such a novelty to me that I took a picture with one. I'd seen palm trees before in California, but to have them on the beach with me that day, it was just so neat. We packed a yummy lunch that day. We made chicken parm sandwiches, and we brought tortilla chips and salsa and some pop too. We found a nice spot on the beach, which wasn't hard because it was lunchtime on a weekday and the beach wasn't too busy. We laid out towels and blankets and we had such a relaxing time. I brought my sketchbook and pencils and pens, and I would switch back and forth between napping in the sun, sketching, and eating. I felt like a cat. It was so lovely to feel the warm sun on my skin. A bit later in the afternoon, I got it in my head that I wanted to go into the water. No one else was. I think it was a bit too cold for them. But to me, their water was just as warm as any beach at home. I danced right up to the edge of the water and slowly inched forward a little bit at a time until the waves would gently wash over my feet. I felt like a little kid again, adventurous all of a sudden and brave. And I kept stepping forward a little bit at a time until I was waist deep and big waves were crashing against my body. I didn't go any further in because the waves were bigger than me that day and it wouldn't have been too safe. I caught myself laughing out loud over and over again because I was just so happy. So happy that I really lost myself in that moment, in just how beautiful everything was. I think about that day a lot. It's a really nice memory, so I hope it makes you happy to hear it too. I think that even if you don't care for winter too much, there are things about this time of year that can make anyone happy. For me, it's my absolute favorite season, so I find just about everything wonderful. But here are some nice things to think about when you get the winter blues. Special seasonal items. A lot of companies release all kinds of smells and flavors of things this time of year, like peppermint and nutmeg and pine. It's a great time of year for food, and if you like to cook, there's so many great recipes to pull out. I love making hearty soups this time of year, things that are nice to come home and have a warm bowl of. Lately, I've been thinking about doing some ASMR cooking videos, so let me know if that's something you'd be into. I'm not the best cook in the world or anything like that, but I have some recipes I think are very delicious, and they could be good to share, even if it's just for ASMR watching purposes. I myself like watching ASMR videos for cooking, so I might try my hand at it. Although snow falling isn't always lovely, there's a time of day when it's basically guaranteed to be gorgeous. Super late at night or very early in the morning, the world kind of stops. The world is very quiet, even if you live in a big city. It's the quietest it could be for that area. And the light from street lamps, or houses with decorations, or even just the moon and stars, reflects so beautifully. It shines on all the snow that's on the ground, and it bounces off and highlights the snow that's currently falling. I always find total serenity in watching this moment, whenever I catch it. There's something so magical about it, about the undisturbed snow in that quiet moment. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices. Whenever I catch that moment, my heart takes it as a sign, a little nod from the universe that we're special and that we were meant to see that moment, to have our spirits lifted and be reminded that there's magic all around us. I really love stationery and beautiful paper and cards, and if you do too, this is the perfect time of year for that. There's so much beautiful wrapping paper out, and special cards to send to special people. Everyone loves getting mail, especially because in this day and age, it's rarer than ever. It's such a great surprise to receive thoughtful mail. So even if you don't buy fancy cards, a nice letter is perfect for this time of year. Writing the people you love and telling them how important they are to you is a great thing to do when you miss them. It's better than writing on their Facebook or sending a text, because it's tangible and they can touch it and keep it. Another thing that's nice is wearing super snuggly sweaters this time of year. Winter means lots of layers of clothing, so there's all kinds of new fashion options for you to try. It's so cozy wearing warm slippers or thick socks around the house too, and snuggling up under a blanket on the couch or in your bed to watch a movie. Now, I want to talk about you I want to talk about you and how precious you are to me. You are such a special person. There's no one else quite like you in the whole world. We're going to do some positive affirmations now, you and me. Your job is easy, okay? I'll say the affirmation, and I want you to repeat it in your head to yourself, or you can quietly say it out loud if that's what you'd prefer. Really consider the words and what they can mean for you in your life. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. My past experiences had a purpose. I have learned from my past, and now I can let go of the feelings I've been holding on to if they can't help me. I am free. I can be present in the now. I can choose to release the past if I'm ready to do so. I am creating the life I want for myself. I am in control of my world and my body. I can make choices that are what's best for me. I am growing and learning every day. I am ready to meet the adventures that are waiting for me. I am worthy of love. I enjoy nature. I enjoy life. I enjoy my loved ones. I know what is truly important, and I make it my priority. I am thankful for the good things in my life. I'm grateful even when it's not easy. I will continue to take care of myself even when I feel unlovable. I will treat myself gently and with understanding. I am special. I am magical. The things I do can change the world. I have made peace with this day. I know that I can make tomorrow even better. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. Was that all right? Are you feeling calm? Let's do some aware breathing for a while. I'm right here next to you, so don't worry. If you get lost, just focus on my breath and follow along. So take a moment now and make yourself comfortable. Bring awareness to every part of you. Wiggle your fingers slightly. Wiggle your toes a little too. Make sure that your arms and legs are in an easy position, free of cutting off circulation. all should be at peace. All is well. Maybe you're laying down right now, or maybe you're sitting. As long as you're safe and comfortable, that's fine. Clear your mind as best you can. Any nagging thoughts or worries can be put to sleep in this moment. Tell your anxious mind that it is time to rest. Is your mind clear? That's okay. It's hard to do. But try your best. That's all that matters. Now we're ready to focus on our breath. Let's become aware of the sensation of breathing. Take 2 deep breaths with me. Feel how your tummy and chest expand as your lungs fill with air. Feel how your heart pulls in all of the magic and wonder of the universe. How loved and cherished you are. Notice your lungs deflating as we breathe out. How your body is turning away the negativity and bad thoughts. Only peace here. Only joy. Only rest. Don't force your breath or push yourself too much. Let your breath flow naturally and simply notice it. Let your awareness stay with this beautiful breath that's flowing in and out of you. Like slow rolling waves on the ocean. This gentle breath, like snow falling carefully at a quiet time of night. This nourishing breath, like yummy warm soup at the end of a cold day. This sacred breath, like a friend with their arm around you, holding you tightly. You are adored. I love you. I love you. Good night, my shining star.